Welcome back to my Calgary Hitmen in 6. This is where I recap Calgary Hitmen in 6-game segments during the 2018-19 WHL season. This will be episode 2, and this will actually be the episode recapping the first 6 games of the 2018-19 Western Hockey League season. So I'll grab my notes here and let's recap. So far, after going 6-0 in the preseason, the Steve Hamilton era of the Calgary Hitmen has got off to a slow start here in the first 6 games of the regular season. Maybe you can grant it on strength of schedule, new coaching staff, various factors. I mean, the Hitmen didn't have a strong season last season. They were third from the bottom, but they showed some promise early, but the last couple games they struggled big time. So let's get going here. And also, if you like this with my sports talk, recap videos, or anything I post like personal vlogs or vacation videos, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and follow my channel. Also, right after my Calgary Hitmen in 6 here, I got some unique, interesting news about the Calgary Hitmen in terms of playing 3 games at the old Stampede Corral. So stay tuned for that separate video. So let's get going on the recap here. So the first game of the regular season happened on Friday, September the 22nd. That puck drop was at 7 p.m. This was at the Western Financial Place in Cranbrook, British Columbia, where the Calgary Hitmen took on the Kootenay Ice. And the first game, the Kootenay Ice beat the Calgary Hitmen 5-3. So that leads into the second game, which was the first 2 games they were on the road here. Happened the following Friday, September the 28th at a 7 p.m. puck drop. This time I was at the MX Centrium up the road here in Red Deer, taking on the Red Deer Rebels. And the Red Deer Rebels got the better of the Calgary Hitmen with the 4-3 win. So after the first 2 games on the road, the Calgary Hitmen on the schedule had a 6-game homestand ahead here. Hopefully to maybe make some hay here at home. Game 3, which I actually personally went to that game, which was the home opener for the Calgary Hitmen. That happened on Saturday, September the 29th, 7 p.m. puck drop at the Scotiabank Saddledome here in Calgary. The Edmonton Oil Kings had the better of the Hitmen with a 6-3 win. I know that game, like it was the first 2 games, the Calgary Hitmen actually outshot them, but definitely were outplayed by the Oil Kings with a 6-3 win. Hitmen were down 4-0, and the rally came up short. So game 4 happened the next afternoon, Sunday, September 30th. This time at 4 p.m. puck drop at the Scotiabank Saddledome here in Calgary. They took on the Red Deer Rebels again, this time on home ice. And actually the Red Deer Rebels won 6-5 in overtime. And how I can highlight with this game is that the Calgary Hitmen actually had a 5-3 lead in the third period, and the Rebels scored 2 goals in the last 10 minutes and eventually scored in overtime. So at least you got a loser point for that game. But the last 2 games wasn't as pretty, but you could say we were taking on even tougher teams, as game 5 happened Friday, October the 5th at 7 p.m. Scotiabank Saddledome in Calgary. The Saskatoon Blades actually shut out the Calgary Hitmen 3-0. So that was the first time the Calgary Hitmen got shut out this season. And game 6 happened on Monday, October the 2nd, 2 p.m. puck drop. Canadian Thanksgiving Day, so, just in case you were wondering why it was an early puck drop on a weekday, here at the Scotiabank Saddledome in Calgary, they were taking on the Prince Albert Raiders, another strong team right now in the WHL, and they actually shut up the Hitmen 4-0. So the last 2 games, especially at home, the Calgary Hitmen have been shut out. As I like to joke, they They scored just as much as I did, but I'm single. Yeah, it's not a good thing if you don't score in hockey. So unfortunately, the first 6 games of the 2018-19 WHL season, the Hitmen are 0-5-1 and already behind some stiff competition in the Central Division here. I mean, the Edmonton Oil Kings and the Red Deer Rebels definitely already made some hay. I mean, I think my realistic expectations for Calgary is if they can get into the playoffs, that should be a considered success. I mean, it didn't look at them to be a Memorial Cup contender or team that'll take the WHL title and get to the Memorial Cup, but right now it's definitely a tough start here. And remember, they only play 68 games in the WHL, so they're definitely going to have to pull up their socks here to get better, especially in the next 2 6-game segments here when I cover those. They also made a couple of trades in this 6-game segment. One, they acquired a player, and another, they traded away a player to get some draft picks. So just before the home opener, the Calgary Hitmen actually acquired forward Caden Elder from the Swift Current Broncos in exchange for a 2019 third-round Bantam pick. And he pretty much brings in another 20-year-old who scored 2 15-goal seasons in the WHL, so he definitely adds some offensive punch. He actually hasn't scored anything yet for the Calgary Hitmen, but it's a long season. So this adds 3 20-year-old players on the roster, which my understanding is that you can have 3 20-year-olds, but at the deadline, I remember the Calgary Hitmen, when they won the first WHL title in 1999, they loaded up in the deadline, and I think at that time you were allowed to have 5 20-year-old players on your roster. I mean, these are guys between 16 to 20-year-olds that's on the active roster. And then the second player that they traded away, they acquired a 2019 4th-round Bantam draft pick and a conditional 5th-round pick 2020. They're going to the Tri-City Americans for defenseman Don Shillman. And that's pretty much get some assets for a depth player, because he was listed as the number 8 defenseman for the Calgary Hitmen. And, if you're the number 8 defenseman, you're not going to get as much playing time. So this is definitely just a way to maximize some assets and get something for a depth player. So those are the trades that they've made. So now, like I do with my other recap videos, we'll look ahead at the next segment of games here, and I'll go over the next 6 games that's on tap for the schedule here. And after those 6 games played, that's when you expect episode 3 to come down. So the 7th game, the Calgary Hitmen they'll continue their homestand in Calgary. This game happens on Friday, October the 11th. It's a 7 p.m. puck drop. Another team that's looking the favorite to go all the way in the WHL is the Lethbridge Hurricanes. The Lethbridge Hurricanes come to town. And then game 8, which will close up the 6-game homestand for the Calgary Hitmen, happens on, actually it was Friday, October 12th, excuse me. It's Sunday, October the 14th. This is a 2 p.m. puck drop. The Regina Pats come to town at the Scotiabank Saddledome, and that will wrap up the 6-game homestand. And after this, Calgary goes on a 5-game Prairie road trip here. So the 9th game will happen on Tuesday, October the 16th, 7 p.m. puck drop. Calgary goes to the Prince Albert to take on the Prince Albert Raiders on the road, which hopefully they can figure something out from the Prince Albert Raiders when they shot us out earlier in the week. And then the next night, Wednesday, October the 17th, 7 p.m. puck drop, they take on the Saskatoon Blades again. So another team that recently shut out the Hitmen. We'll see how those 2 games go in my episode 3 recap. So that's the 10th game. Game 11 happens on Friday, October the 19th at 7 p.m. puck drop. They go to Moose Jaw to take on the Moose Jaw Warriors. And wrap up what will be episode 3 when I recap the games, game 12. That happens on Saturday, October 20th at 7 p.m. Carrigan makes the long trip to Brandon to take on the Brandon Wheat Kings. So that's the next 6 games that's on tap there, and that's what will be in episode 3. So expect that episode to come after Saturday, October the 10th. So other stats that I can throw out early in the season that just list the top 2 leading scorers right now is Jay Kriske, who has 4 goals, 1 assist for 5 points in 6 games. And then the captain, Mark Kolistic, he has 3 goals, 1 assist for 4 points in 6 games. And then right now, goaltending is looking a little ugly. Carl Stankowski has played the most goals, who's played the most goaltending. He has a 0-4 record with the goals against average at 4.84 or 4.89 and a save percentage of .844. That's not very pretty, even for 80 standards, when the scoring was a lot higher in AHL. But hopefully we'll see some better goaltending from Carl Stankowski. Basically, how I summarize the Hitmen so far is that I think they have the ability to put a lot of shots on net and score a lot of goals, but defensively they generally allow a lot of shots. But that's what I've seen on recaps, including the game that I took in live at the home opener. But anyway, that's the first 6 games of the 2018-19 WHL season for the Calgary Hitmen. So if you enjoy everything I post on my YouTube channel, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video, which shortly after this I'll go over the recent press release where the Calgary Hitmen will play a trio of games, 3 games at the old Stampede Corral later this season. So stay tuned for that.